Hey team, and welcome back to Toe the Line. I have a very exciting guest on today, my second guest on the podcast.
Ooh, number 2.
Oh my gosh, you went way too early, Tāne. No, that's all good. No, but yeah, very exciting. I'm sure you guys will get a lot out of this podcast. And I think from like a I guess like fan perspective, I always wanted to like know what goes on behind the scenes and stuff, so I think this will be a really exciting one. But I'm going to introduce him. Today's guest runs the fourth highest followed Instagram account in Australasian sport. I would say he's pretty well known for his out-of-the-box graphics, bringing the players that we see on our TV screens to life, and probably ruffles some feathers with his captions and replies. Nice. You know you do. Today I'm speaking to the guy behind the Blues Super Rugby social media, Tāne Wolfgramm. Tāne, welcome to Toe the Line.
Thank you so much for having me. It's awesome. Like, I'm usually the one on the other side of the camera and microphone, so it's really interesting being the guest for a change. So I'm excited, and I'm very honoured to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining me. I'm very excited. Like I said when I first started, I was like, I think, like from a fan perspective, and before I started doing all this kind of social media stuff in the rugby space, I was always so intrigued by kind of what happened in the day-to-day life of teams like the Blues and like how kind of like the back end runs and who's on the socials and everything, because I just love social media, and I think it's really cool that sports teams are getting more and more into using social media. So yeah, really excited for this chat. I'm going to pick your brains quite a lot, and we've also got some questions at the end from people that sent some questions in, so I'm sure they'll get a lot from that as well.
Okay. Let's get into it. I'm excited.
First question, very important one. How are you?
I'm good. Sort of getting to the end of off season now, so we've had like a decent break. You find that when you work in sport, like in season it's just like here, and then like the week after it's boom. And it's good because like Super Rugby, we have quite a short season in comparison to other sports, so we go really hard for 6 months and then we get to kind of chill. It does get quite boring in the off season, but I've been lucky enough to do some cool things. But no, I'm good. Yeah, so I'm good. I'm happy. I feel refreshed, and I'm really excited for the boys to come in like a month's time and get cracking for next season.
Yeah, I think it's interesting what you said about kind of the week after Super Rugby finishes, it just goes right back down. Because when I was an athlete and we would go away for like trips or like on tournaments and stuff, you'd get like post-tournament depression because you'd be like so high on life, like because like doing the things you do day to day, and like you know everyone that's in the group that's travelling or whatever, and then like the next week it's just like, oh, what am I supposed to do with my life now?
What's really interesting here, because like this place goes quiet, and it's during the season there's an extra 45 guys running around, making coffees, walking through the hallways, bouncing in and out of the room, loud, interacting with everything, and then like 2 weeks after the season it's like dead silent, and it's like you need music on at some point just for like ambient sound. So it's like so it's good. The contrast between in season off season is crazy, but no, I'm good, happy, refreshed, and ready to go.
Great, that's so cool. I think we're just going to dive straight into it. My first kind of question, I guess, to kick off this chat is, what kind of made you interested in content creation? How did you get into it? When was like your first kind of memory of picking up a camera, being behind the lens, all that sort of stuff?
So I've always been a really huge sports fan, like my whole life, and I think really, really early on I realised I wasn't that good at it. So like, I wasn't in your first 15s, I wasn't in all your teams.
Did you play rugby in school?
I played rugby, it's not very well. But I was always.
Let's be honest.
It was really interesting because I've always been like a really big supporter of my friends who played sport, or I was at all the first 15 games. My friends even in high school had like a social basketball team that I occasionally played in. But like when I wasn't playing, I'd be on the sideline filming it for them and just doing like little things like that.
Just on an iPhone or?
Just on an iPhone,
really? Wow.
Just because it was like fun and and it wasn't even a content thing. It was just like, I enjoy supporting my mates in this way. So like once I finished high school, it was sort of like, what do I do now? Ended up going to uni, did communications at AUT, great degree. Finished that, but I'd been in radio since I was like 16.
Oh wow.
I worked at NZME, so I was there for a while. I was at Flavour, and I really That's where I thought I was going to go.
Yeah.
And then so I was there for a while, ended up being on the night show for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then kind of just didn't see any growth opportunities there
Mm-hmm.
for me. But I knew I really loved sport,
Yeah.
so I just kind of made a real drastic decision to pivot real early, because I was only like 18 at the
Yeah.
point. 18 or 9, and just pivot
Sort of like
and
what
be
I've done
like,
this year.
and just been like pivot to something that I know I enjoyed. So there was an internship going at New Zealand Rugby League, for a year,
Yeah.
to join their operations team or the comms team there, and jumped at it, gave it a good go. So I was there for a year, learnt some really cool things, and that was the first sort of time I'd ever kind of picked up on the social.
Yeah.
Game, but it was less camera because that was a COVID year. There was no camera work and stuff. It was just like editing. So
Yeah.
like I just find odd Kiwis clips, edit
Mhm.
together, and post it up on this Kiwis page, and that was fun. And then once I finished my internship there, I kind of came to the Blues.
Mhm.
I literally emailed every single team in Auckland.
Oh, did you?
And the Blues are the ones that responded. And literally, I think the first time I properly picked up a camera was at the Blues, which is like a really fortunate position for me to be in, because
100%.
like, it's funny because I think now, like, I wouldn't have, like, now, I would not have hired myself. With the skill set that I had coming into this job, I wouldn't have taken me.
That's what I feel like when you guys allowed me to come in. Like, in that season, I got here and I was like, what the fuck am I actually doing here?
It was so interesting because it was just, I just kind of caught it at a really good time where it was like, social was becoming relevant, but people hadn't really caught up, like, I guess, skill-wise. So like I came in and it was just like, because I was so keen, I kind of got it, and and I've learned pretty much everything that I know now on the job, which is so like it's hard, it's so privileged in a way, because it's like how many other people get to learn, learn in a space where your content is being seen by sometimes millions.
That's
daunting,
wild to me.
but it's, I'm learning here, but enjoying it.
That really is wild to me, because I've never told you this, but I like look up to you quite a lot in terms of like creativity, like behind the lens, because I just love your work. I think the way you're able to, I think you can take a picture of anything or like a video of anything, but the way you're able like to capture someone's personality through a picture, I think is really special and like such a unique thing to be able to do. I think that's so interesting. So you're obviously just very talented at what you do.
I mean, like I've always been the creative type. Like I draw, I paint and all that kind of stuff. But like most of what I've learned has been on the job, and like it was kind of stark, because as soon as I started, I did realize, oh snap, I don't actually know a lot. So like for the next like 3 weeks, I was like, I went and bought my own camera, like within the first couple of weeks of me doing an internship here. So like invested, spent all my money, bought a camera, and then just spent the next 3 weeks learning cameras, like aperture, shutter speed, ISO, everything, like just diving into what a camera does and how to use it. So like I definitely put in the work, but just being privileged enough to be able to do it here, as opposed to just like a freelancer who had to do it all for no money.
100%.
So like I'm grateful for my position, but it was real interesting, because I don't think like even a couple of years later, I don't think you could like that could ever happen again.
For sure. So how long ago was that then that you started working at the Blues?
Here, started 2021. So I did
it's not been that long.
It's not been long.
Wow.
So 2020, I did an internship at New Zealand Rugby League. Started 2021.
Wow. That's so interesting. You just never would have known. I just thought you kind of, because I knew you had done like a little bit with New Zealand Rugby League, and I just thought you got the job at the Blues from that. But that's super interesting.
Literally emailed every single team in Auckland. Breakers, Tuatara. Who else is there? Even like all the NPC teams, Harbour, none of them replied. The Blues were the only ones who replied.
It's a bit like me with what I was doing early in the year. I was just like, at this point, I'm just going to DM all the teams and just see who replies.
And they do. So.
To be fair, though, you guys, like, I think all the teams replied, actually. I don't think there was a team that didn't reply, but I think it was, I'm going to name the Chiefs here.
You don't need
Sorry. But it was Kyra at the Chiefs who actually gave me that first opportunity to do, like, I was never going to reach out to them. I just saw that they had followed me on Instagram, and I was like, what do I do now? Like, I can't, because
I think we were the first to follow you on TikTok, though. Can I just say?
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you guys only follow like 19 people, so I was like, okay.
Very selective on our TikTok. That includes my show.
That's so good. But yeah, I think it's really interesting how people like in kind of our similar positions just like have like the nerve to just reach out to people and just like go after something that they want.
I'm huge on that. It's like you never know until you ask.
100%.
Like every time I travel, I jump on LinkedIn and I message every single person from the comms team of every single team I go to.
I remember talking to you about LinkedIn that first time I came.
I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, 100%.
Like the amount of connections and people that I've met through LinkedIn is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it's just like having the courage to just go, oh, hey, I'm Tāne from New Zealand. I'd like to, like, I'll be in the country for a little bit, yada yada. Or even just like, I said this a couple of years ago, and I said, like, we're in New Zealand. Like, it's not the biggest place in the world. If you want to get to an All Black, you can. Yeah. Like, we're not huge.
Yeah.
You know, you could message any one of these players, and they will see it. Yeah. You know, whether or not you'll get a response is another answer. But they will see it. Like, it's not LeBron James. Like, it's, you know, if you message Anton Signa, he'll reply. Like, it's, you know, and there are opportunities there, and sometimes you just got to put yourself out there and give it a go.
100%. And I think also what's really interesting, like you touched on it, that you didn't really have any sort of background in like social media before you started here. I think sometimes people, and I know that I've struggled with this a bit, like over what I've been doing recently, is you feel like you've got to be at like a certain level before you start. And I think for me, like it's a little bit of like imposter syndrome where I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough to like be doing this stuff. I don't know what I'm doing, or I've got no background in this. But I think the most success I've had with anything that I've done is just starting something and just seeing how 100%. It evolves over time. So I think,
like, I think just like don't be afraid to just be a little bit audacious and just
a little bit delusional.
Yeah, just like and send it because you actually don't know. Like
100%.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Very true and very inspirational.
So you know, if you don't ask the message, if you don't send the message, you won't get a response. You 100% won't get a response. Yeah. So you never know.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I want to jump into some numbers a little bit because it blows my mind just a little bit. So like I mentioned, the Blues are the 4th highest followed Instagram account in Australasian sport.
Not anymore, the Warriors took over us this year.
Okay, well, we won't put that in. But you guys are also the first Super Rugby team, like out of all the Super Rugby teams, to reach 300,000 followers on Instagram. Talk us through how that happened. I feel like I followed the Blues last year and obviously followed them this year, but I think this year I noticed like a real elevation in the content that you guys are putting out. Can you talk us through a little bit how you guys got there?
So I think 2-3 years ago it was the Hurricanes. So like I guess in terms of followers, like it was really interesting to see that like the teams who were successful during a period. So like when Facebook was big, I think the Crusaders and Hurricanes were pretty big. Yeah. Or even, and so like, actually the Chiefs. So the Chiefs are really good in the 2010s, early 2010s. So they've got, they've got a huge, I mean, they won like 3 in a row. So they've got a huge Facebook following. When Instagram kicked off, I think it was 2016, 2015, 16.
Yeah, around
properly,
there.
The Hurricanes are really good. So the Hurricanes had heaps of followers. Yeah. So it was like Hurricanes had the most followers in Super Rugby for ages.
That's so interesting.
And, you know, it was just like, we were just chasing them really. So for ages it was Hurricanes, Crusaders, and then like a distance, and then us, and us Chiefs, and then a distance Islanders. Sorry guys. So when I first started in 2021, I was like an intern. Yeah. And then the start of 2022, the guy above me, Jared London, who is like probably taught me most of what I know now.
He does the stuff for the Auckland.
He now does Auckland, so he left, went to another opportunity. So I kind of like probably, I think it was February, March. So like season had just started. I got elevated to like full-time to a full-time role, and I was just there by myself. So 2022 was a great year for the Blues as a team. I think we won like 15 straight. And I got given creative freedom over the social page. And I just ran with it. Like I took the piss the whole year. Like any opportunity I could, I took. And then, so that was that year, but I did it by myself. You know, and I didn't have a great camera. But like I just
You could
tried
still-
everything
yeah.
that I could.
Mhm.
This year was real cool. So I brought in. We had someone in named Tara Handa,
Yep.
who's an amazing creator. She's actually with the Kiwi Ferns right now, but she came in and did our women's team, which is cool. So we had a dedicated person looking after our women's. I had some support, so I brought in a really good friend of mine, Nods, to help support me. So we built a little team. I got a huge upgrade in my camera stuff. So like, whereas 2022 was just like finding my feet. This
Finding your
year,
style almost,
this year was just like I got given all the tools that I needed to do whatever I wanted and like make real cool stuff. So that's what we did, and I think it reflected in our followers. We do have the biggest market, so we probably should have the most followers, and I think it's now just starting to reflect that. People are really starting to enjoy our content, and like it's just I think. Like next year will be like even more of a level up because like we've got so many new ideas and stuff that we want to do.
Very excited.
And now we have
the
now we have the freedom to do it with the equipment and personnel and resource. So yeah, it was like I don't think there was anything that was like, okay, this is the reason we got to 300k before anyone else or anything like that. We did have a few videos that went quite viral, which was nice. But yeah, I think it was just consistency and it was just like an overall. People are seeing that we're deciding to put a lot more effort into it, and we're catering a lot of our content to the fans that enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah. So would you say that you put I guess, because it is like success, like the Blues Instagram is like super successful, like the engagement is pretty high, like you've got the most followers in Super Rugby. Would you say that you put the success down to a number of things in terms of like fans getting engaged, the creativity you bring to the page and all that sort of stuff, you know, you're not just like posting game day pictures, you know, it's like behind the scenes content and all that type of stuff. Yeah,
like I think I'm very lucky here at the Blues where like my boss and the people above me actually give me the freedom to like do trendy things or do things that aren't rugby or so like there's definitely like I don't put down, so like the other super teams, I don't put it down to the people running them because like sometimes they just put in a box and it's like, don't leave this box. So like game days, all we want is a couple photos and the full time and that's it. So I've been very, very lucky that the people above me here have trusted me enough to let me like chase these things that they might not understand. So my boss, you know, doesn't understand TikTok, but she trusts if something's there. Oh,
go for it.
There's a reason for it. Like he gets it. He's the manager of the social, to run with it. So that's why like we do heaps of random things that you know occasionally work or like I get given the freedom, and I think that's it, right? It's just freedom to try, which I don't think other super teams are afforded as much.
Right.
So I don't put it down to the creativity of the people running the page. Sometimes it's literally just you know like a real rugby thing where it's you know we do this like this. Why change it?
Yeah, for sure.
Don't talk, you know, yada yada. So I've just been real lucky.
Yeah. I want to touch on like the creative freedom part because I think that's super interesting. I think I keep saying from like a fan perspective, not like I'm kind of like sort of in it now, like kind of on the fringes, but I think from like someone who has like created content in the rugby space this year and like from having conversations with people who enjoy the content, I think people really want to see stuff outside of actual rugby, like they want to know who these players are. Would you say that you think we're going to like see more of that as the years go on, or do you think some teams are going to stay to like kind of the whole black and white, or do you think from like your perspective it will change a bit?
I think it really depends on who the head coach is of the team. Like people don't realise how much influence the coach of the team has on, you know, like I know some NRL teams where like the camera's not even allowed in the locker rooms.
Wow.
You know, so like trying to work around stuff like that is real hard. Again, like we've been pretty lucky that Leon the last few years has been pretty good with like allowing us access to the players. Hasn't always been happy with some of the stuff that goes up, but that's, you know, that's just the nature of things that happen. But he's been pretty good with us, you know, allowing us, you know, to get close with the boys. You know, and like the biggest thing for me is like I need to be in a position where the boys trust me that 100%. if I'm gonna put a camera in front of your face, I'm not gonna make you look like a dickhead.
Yeah,
like it's
100%.
So yeah, it's just, and the more that grows, the more opportunities for that kind of content to come out. The more they trust, the more the more trust that people have in social. Because like at the end of the day, like I don't want the Blues to look stupid.
No.
Like, so I'm not going to do that.
No,
like we're all on the same
Yep.
team here, and once once everyone kind of clicks in on that, then we're all moving towards the same goal. I think you'll see a lot more of that. And that's definitely the kind of content that people are interested in seeing.
Yeah, for sure.
Who these guys are.
Kind of off the field.
All you have to do is look at American sport or
100%.
English sport. A lot of people, especially in America, a lot of people follow players, not teams.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we're seeing that here, but there's definitely elements of that.
Yeah.
And the more we grow it, the better, I think.
Yeah. Would you say that? Because I'm always so fascinated by US sports. I feel like they just do sports so differently to New Zealand. And I feel like, obviously, rugby is our number one sport here in New Zealand.
Yep.
And in my head, I'm like, it's interesting that majority of the teams, or like just the rugby in general in the community, hasn't kind of taken the same path as US sports.
Yep.
Do you think we're slowly going in that direction, or we're kind of doing something different?
It's hard to tell, because like it comes from the top. So like Super Rugby, in the eyes of the people who matter, is a high performance product.
Yeah.
Like it's a product to develop the players to go to the All Blacks.
Yeah.
Really. Whereas I believe it should be an entertainment product. Like it should be something that the fans can get behind and enjoy, and it's not like we shouldn't have like All Black rests, all that kind of stuff that just take away from wanting to go watch it.
Yeah.
It's right now it is a product to develop All Blacks.
I 100% agree.
Which is like the opposite to the NRL. The NRL is in itself an entertainment product. Everything that the NRL do is catered towards their fans and what can make the best experience for people watching.
Yeah, for sure.
Which just doesn't, just the mindset doesn't exist right now.
Yeah.
In Super, at least.
Yeah.
And then, like, just because you have that, everything is catered towards the All Blacks, like, frame of mind. And the All Blacks, it's not the wrong way to think, but it's very traditional.
Yeah.
It's like, we get in camp and, we do our things, we do this, we do that, and then that happens. Like, like I think this year during the World Cup is the only year that, or the first year that you kind of seen the All Blacks open up a little bit on camp, especially with the NZR Plus stuff.
Yeah.
But traditionally that's never been the go.
Yeah,
and
for
when
sure.
rugby down is sort of dictated by this one frame and mindset, that's how people see things. So I think until, like, I'm not saying the All Blacks need to change, but until we offer the freedom for everyone else to be, like, that Super Rugby needs to be entertainment first, and until we get that, I can't see it changing too much anytime soon. Which is like not great, because like I want Super Rugby to be successful.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to work in a for a competition that is growing. Like I like just love seeing the NRL right now.
Yeah.
And I want that. I'm so jealous of their success. But yeah, we're trying.
Yeah, for sure. I want to touch on a couple more numbers from the 2023 season because they're very impressive. 144 million plus reach, which is crazy. 18 million engagement and 144,000 new followers. Firstly, congrats, because that's like a lot. Those numbers are massive. I guess my follow-up question to that would be, we sort of just touched on it, but I kind of want to dive into it a bit more. How important is social media for not just like sports teams in general, but for the Blues? How important do you think it is?
I think it's growing in importance every year. The more that people realise how important it is, which is great for me. And like for us, people in the industry. Like I think. I said this a couple of years ago. I think that social will be one of the most important jobs for any business in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Like it's just growing that quickly.
Because people seem to think social media is dying, but then I have like conversations with people like yourself in the industry, and they're like, no, it's like really only just getting started.
It's just starting. Like like I truly think in the next 5 to 10 years, social will be one of the most important roles in any place, because that's how we communicate now. Like if you want to go interact with the Blues from Sunday to Saturday afternoon, you go on social, and then you go to the game, and then you just interact with the Blues more. So like it's been real interesting seeing the switch, because like I said when I started, it probably wasn't a priority at all for anyone here.
Yeah.
Like they hired someone who didn't know how to use a camera. So like
Says a lot.
yeah, it says a lot, and it's just it's been real interesting seeing the mindset tick over, and now because money's involved, it's like, oh, we can sell our social now. The social is bringing in revenue for the business. That's important. So now it's something that you can't lose it now.
For sure.
Like you couldn't take a step backwards in this world now because it's become such a vital part of the Blues and sort of any rugby team or any sports team worldwide. And then just like in terms of numbers and stuff, I just think that's a testament to like a lot of our boys are really up for it, and they they're interesting people to follow, and we're an interesting team to
banter and all that sort of stuff as well.
We're an interesting team to be around. The guys are really good. We aren't afraid to have fun and show our real selves, which is a lot of those numbers and stuff are just from a few videos that showed the boys as they were, as they are. And that's cool, because like if you all I want is if you come into the Blues and you spend half a day with these guys, you get it. And it's like I just want that to be on social, just the feeling that you get when you're around these guys and they're having a laugh with each other, having a jokes, all like fun and games. They're competing with each other. I just want that to come across.
For sure.
And I think it and the numbers speak for itself. It's been cool. Like it's really cool considering like when people say rugby's on the down. I just think attendance is on the down. People aren't not watching rugby anymore. I don't think there are Blues fans who were fans 5 years ago that are like, oh, I'm not going to watch the game this weekend just because I don't like the Blues anymore. No, you watch the game, but it's just you might not go. You might not spend $60 to get there, $100 for your family to get there, which is something that we're working on, and we're trying to bring that tribalism back, but. You're not still watching, you're still engaging, and we're just sort of giving the people what they want.
Yeah, for sure. I guess to piggyback off what you just said, in terms of fan engagement, do you think, because like I wasn't going to say that rugby's dying because I hate saying that, especially in New Zealand, but I think we're seeing a bit of a downtrend at the moment in terms of attendance at games and viewership and all that sort of stuff. In terms of fan engagement, do you think social media has like a big role to play in injecting kind of viewership, I guess, back into attendance? How do you kind of translate the online stuff into real person? Yeah,
it's hard because attendance is down, but viewership is actually up. So people are watching more on Sky. People are watching the highlights a lot more. It's just so much easier to watch the game somewhere than to turn up. And
which is such a contrast to NRL, because you go to like you see any regular season game and majority of the stadium is like packed.
I think like a lot of this atmosphere, right? Like it's sort of like you come to a Blues game and it's like, oh, my mate's not going to go, so I won't go, and then his mate's not going, and all of a sudden you've got a whole bunch of people that
don't listen to your mates.
That aren't turning up anymore. So it's a lot of atmosphere. Like that's what being at the game brings, and right now Super doesn't have that. Whereas if you go to a Warriors game, it's just crazy. Like there is room for growth in that area. Like I've been going to Warriors games for the last 12 years, and I was there when there was less than 3,000 people in the crowd. And so there is room for improvement. Like it can change. I don't think it's dead or dying. I just think it's a lot less convenient to go to the games anymore, which is a problem because
it looks just
it looks bad, and ticket revenue is how teams stay afloat. So you're not turning up to the games. Teams not getting enough money. Teams things have got to change around here, which eventually makes the experience worse because the team's got less money, can't do more things.
For sure.
So it is a bit of a cycle, but we're trying. We're doing with brainstorming and thinking of ways that can entice people to come back.
For sure.
Other than just winning. But it's interesting. But like I'd say, like rugby, people are still interested in rugby. Like just look at the World Cup. Numbers are crazy. People are interested, and I'm really hoping we can ride this momentum into a really solid Super season.
For sure.
With really entertaining games and a product that people want to go and see.
100%.
It's the biggest hindrance for us is Eden Park, because it's like you could sell out FMG,
Yeah.
and that looks like an empty Eden Park with the same crowd.
For
So
sure.
it's like that how we're perceived is real different. There's so many different factors into what's going into right now.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're trying,
Yeah.
and like we really, we really hope to see fans back.
Yeah.
Because that's when the game's the best.
Yeah, definitely.
But that doesn't say rugby's dying. I
Yeah.
think viewership's up, socials up everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just a lot easier to watch on the couch than it is to go to the game.
Yeah, 100%. In terms of, viewership being up and social media on the up and up, where do you see, I guess, social media in the sporting arena and sporting space headed within like the next 5 years, 5 to 10?
I just think it'll grow in importance.
Yeah.
Like, it'll become like. I can't see the content changing too much. I think it'll be year on year. Yep, these are the players. Get to know them. Yada yada. I can't see the content changing, but the importance of it within a brand will change.
Yeah.
It'll just get more and more important because the numbers will get more and more, and the money will get more and more.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, half your company's revenue is brought in through social or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Numbers are whatever, but
Yeah.
it'll just become more and more important. So
100%.
you start investing more into it because it's bringing in more money.
Yeah.
And so the content, the quality will get a lot more better. I can't see the content changing too much. I think everyone always wants to see rugby, and then everyone wants to know the players. I don't know how much more innovative you can get from
100%.
that. But I just think it'll be a lot more important for clubs to in terms of the structure of everything.
Yeah. I guess a question that I don't have but to add on to it is I'm not sure how familiar you are with Formula One and all that sort of stuff, but I know...
My mate Liam Lawson.
Yeah, he's doing very well at the moment. And we're going to get into that because I know you did interview him, but I know for me, I follow a couple of content creators who kind of got started just doing videos at home by themselves in their room about Formula One, and then it's grown into this I guess career for them where they are they have media passes and they're there, at the race weekends and stuff. Sort of what I've tried to emulate, I guess, in the rugby scene. Do you see more people like myself coming into the sort of content creation space?
I'd love it. I can't forecast whether or not people will
Yeah,
won't,
for
but
sure.
That'd be my
in
dream.
terms of
I just want people talking about rugby, similar to rugby league. Rugby league's got the NRL roast, bloke in a bar, YKTR, all these different just things talking about rugby, which brings attention to rugby.
Yeah.
Football is that's half of football, just people talking about. Every team has about 22 different YouTube channels dedicated to that team, just talking about every game.
Yeah.
Rugby, there's a few. I can't mention them all, but there's some,
Black
and we
jersey,
notice your black
yeah.
jersey, 2 Cents Rugby.
Yeah.
There's so many different guys that just talk about the game, and enjoy it, and that's for me, the more I think a sign of success is if we're seeing more of that, more people. If you are feeling like you're getting enough, or if you feel the need to get up and make content about rugby and it's being successful enough for you, that means rugby is doing well.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
So a sign of success for me will be if there are more things popping up talking about rugby, being around rugby, and if you're out there and wanting to do stuff like this, reach out.
Don't leave me out there by myself.
No, I'm serious. I'm seeing podcasts. I've a few rugby podcasts follow me as well. Just reach out. We're here to help.
Yeah.
I really want you guys to do well because it only benefits us.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I've given media passes to people who reached out and just want to come to the games and check it out. So yeah, that's.
Yeah, for sure.
Do it.
No, definitely. Okay, I want to talk about the negative. I don't love dwelling on the negative, but I do want to talk a little bit on the negative side of social media. Trolls, hate comments, armchair players, armchair coaches, all that sort of stuff. What's kind of the protocol from your point of view, from the franchise point of view?
Sort of after every game, I'll do a little evaluation of. Because there's definitely players who take it a lot better than others.
Yeah.
So Reeks, for example, if he has a bad game, it doesn't really matter because he has a circle that he listens to. Yeah. And he only respects their opinion respectfully, but he. Yeah, no, 100%. He trusts the circle, and online comments don't get to it. Yeah. Whereas our younger players and stuff, if they have a bad game, sometimes I will pass them and they're scrolling through the comments and stuff.
Take the phone and check
Yeah,
it.
well, it's hard because I think more I'll just be like, okay, I know he's had a bad game. I know the people are at him. I won't post anything about him for a little bit, just to give him some breathing room.
Yeah.
And it's just being a little bit aware like that. Like there's a few players on this team that cop it more than others, and sometimes for no reason, but it's just like a trend.
People have
trend
like a
to do
prejudice
it.
against some players more than others.
Like a couple of our players have just quit, like just deleted Instagram, deleted social because they don't want to see that. It does not benefit to them, which is upsetting because I know social can be a huge benefit to these players post their career and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I'm sort of like I keep my eyes on that, and like the more like I know the boys in the team, like I know who would struggle and who wouldn't when stuff like that happens, because you can't avoid it. I just think you can like sort of manage it a lot more. So it's like if one of our young boys goes and has a shocker, I'm not going to post 3 photos of him the next day to give opportunity for people to talk about
100%.
him. So I manage it like that. It's obviously upsetting, but it's like sometimes it is just passionate people, who love this team and love what they're doing, and I don't think it's ever warranted going out, but like sometimes you can just put it down to passion, and then others are just trolls and
just idiots.
and we talk about that, like they just trust the opinions of the ones who matter, and like the trolls are trolls, like
sure.
just let them go, like they can say whatever they want.
And I think some people, because I know I've been told this a lot, that some people say, oh, just don't read the bad comments, but it's like I don't think people understand, like it's hard not to not read it, because you could just be scrolling through like all the positive ones, and then suddenly you come across a bad one, and it's like in our like human psyche to like pick out that bad one and be like internalize it. But it's about having like that, I guess, kind of thing in place where you're like, okay, that doesn't like necessarily mean I'm a bad person or I'm a bad player. It's just that person's got an issue and they're just going to voice it.
And it's tough having such a job where like you're so front facing to the public. Like even as the social person, like there's been moments where I've missed the mark, or done something that's not as fun as I thought it was, or hurt someone's feelings in some way, and you get comments like that, or I've had messages about like people talking about my stuff, but it is tough having it. Like you just got to realize how not normal it is for your day-to-day job to be scrutinized by so many people all the time.
And so many
people
have to like access to you as well.
So it's like it's not normal, and like some people deal with it in very different ways. So it's like like it's gonna happen, and like people just do it to do it. But I do what I can to help everyone else.
Do some of the I guess not the comments about the players, but do some comments like get to you personally when you're like reading through them? Because I guess like, do you go through all the comments and stuff, or
it's
a tricky one because
it's hard.
It's not
it's not me, but like I care about at least some of these boys like a lot. So it does hurt when I see stuff like that. I'm pretty alright with it in terms of like if he has gone out and had a bad game, like I expect it. It's just the personal ones that that get me. Luckily we don't get too many. Like rugby is still like a lot less toxic than a lot of other sports. Except for like football, like rugby league is still pretty bad for that kind of stuff. But we're alright. Not saying it doesn't happen, but like a lot less than others.
Yeah, for sure.
Like even after we lost in the semi-final this year, I was expecting to get the boys to get berated, and there was a few, but most of it was like, "Oh, all right, boys, had a great season. Like, thank you." Like I was saying thank yous after we lost by 50. So.
Because that was my next question about that semi-final loss as well. Because I think in losses like that, I just don't think people expected, like for that game specifically, people didn't expect it, and I think that's usually 9 times out of 10 where you get those like really bad, heinous comments. But I looked under the comments under that one, and like for the most part, like 9 times out of 10 they were pretty good. So like I think that's kind of a testament to what we've been doing here in the comm space. So I think we've made a really huge job of humanizing the boys.
So it's like, you don't know Tom Robinson, you know Sauce,
Yeah.
the flanker who's real funny, and like has a giggle, has a laugh.
Yeah.
You're way less like, so if you interact with a player, your only interaction with them is the 80 minutes you see them on TV,
Mm-hmm.
and that's your whole picture of this
Yeah.
person is. It's like, oh, I'll give him shit on social.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
not too much. But if I know, like Tom,
Mm.
and I see him and he's making funny videos all week and he's being a good bloke and he's all that, you all of a sudden there's so much more nuance to this guy, and I know so much about this man. It's almost like a friend.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, he's down, now I'll pick him up.
100%.
So that's like a lot of what we're trying to do, is just like create a space where, oh, he might have had a bad game, but he's a really good guy.
Yeah.
And like, I like him a lot because he's, you know, because we've shown the different
Personality.
sides of it. Because rugby is a small part of these guys.
Yeah.
They are all nuanced and like creative, funny, like great people.
Yeah.
Which you just don't see.
Yeah. 100%.
So like we make a really big effort to try and show that side of them, because when times are low, that's who you,
Yeah.
that's what you click onto.
100%.
So I think like in the last few years, that's what we've done, and it's a testament to seeing the comments and stuff like that. It's comments and stuff like that like it just shows that we've done a good job, and
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
people are connecting to the human side of these players a lot more than just the rugby player.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I want to take some time away from the Blues content now. I want to shift gears and talk about On the Radar. Talk us through what it is, how it started, what's On the Radar all about.
So On the Radar is like a
I love how you instantly were just like, yes, I'm ready.
On the Radar is a like small like kind of sports podcast
Yeah.
that I started with a really good mate of mine, Nods, actually. We started it because we both went to uni together.
Yeah.
One day we were sitting on the couch and we were just, should we start a podcast, bro?
One
we
of
did
those
that.
ones.
We did that, and it started off in our garage, and we just used to do podcasts like this,
Yeah.
and just chat for hours and hours about sports on the weekend,
Yeah.
and we could literally sit there for 4 or 5 hours and just chat about sport.
Yeah.
We've been so slack with it. 'Cause we've actually been doing it for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Fine.
it's been a long time. But
That's
like
funny.
we'll do like 3 months solid, and then we might do it for like
Just
6
take
months.
like
You know,
an
we'll take
8-month hiatus. 3
so-
months on, 8 months off.
But it's just a testament to how much we love sport. We'll talk about F1, football,
Yeah.
rugby, league, tennis. You know, we'll talk about anything because we love it. So now we're on TikTok, and we just like we'll meet up once every 3 or 4 weeks
Yeah.
and just make like a film for an hour and then cut that into little
Yeah.
bits and post it up on TikTok. But I think a year ago now we applied for some funding from New Zealand On Air, and we got it, which was cool. So it was a decent amount of money, and we decided it was to make a show of some sort, and we pitched to like make this sports show where we like present and talk about sport and do all the stuff. And they really liked it, so they gave us some money, and we were like, oh, instead of doing it in
New
Auckland
Zealand,
with like a
yeah.
cool big set and big expensive camera, we were like, oh, let's go to London and do it there with a
Let's go
cheap camera and no set.
And cheap microphones.
so yeah, we did that.
That's a good plan.
We flew to London. We went to Canberra first.
Yeah.
Interviewed Matt Ghetto, great bloke. Flew to London. Interviewed Chris Wood,
Yeah.
captain of the All Whites, currently in the Premier League. Then we went.
Was that cool for you?
Oh wow, great bloke and cool guy.
Yeah.
Like it's just a real surreal moment.
So did you
being,
know him or like the other athletes that you interviewed
personally?
beforehand? Yeah.
Nah, none.
Did you just reach out on
We just reached
Instagram?
out. Or like we paid them because we had the money to.
Oh, right.
But like
Yeah,
we
yeah,
reached
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
You know, and they were all keen and happy, and it was cool because like when we're connecting with Kiwis overseas, they were real stoked to see us.
Yeah.
And then we saw Liam Lawson
Yeah.
and in England as well, and he was just like, oh man, it's so good to like have a real joke, you know, because they can't joke here, like, so we were just having a good laugh.
Yeah.
Same with Chris Wood, like it was. We were talking to him, and then like slowly through the thing,
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh,
Start warming
I'm
up.
Kiwi now,"
I'm
and he was
back
just
on, yeah.
he was just roasting me the
Yeah.
whole thing. So it was funny, and he was good. And then we were like, "Oh, where else can we go?" So
Yeah.
we were like, I want to go to Japan. So
yeah,
like,
I saw that. That looked
let's
epic.
find someone in Japan.
Yeah.
So I messaged Otere Black,
Yeah.
ex-Blues player, and we were like, oh, can we come interview in Japan? And he was like, oh, I'll be in Auckland. And we were like, oh, no, Japan sounds good. So when are you back in Japan? So yeah, so we went to Japan and
So good.
interviewed him. So it was like a real trip of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Like it was just so grateful
Yeah.
to do it with some of your best mates. Fly around the world and interview athletes and get some cool content out of it. So yeah, that's what OTR's been up to after like years of hiatus. Get this
3
money
months
and
on, 8
now,
months off.
yep, and then got all this money and now we're like, okay, we've got a show, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we've just posted our first trailer for the show the other day.
What's sort of like the goal of this new kind of show?
There was no goal. The goal was to get the money and fly overseas. That was the goal.
Stop, that is actually so funny.
The goal was to go on a lads trip in London. Honestly, there was no goal.
That's
We were
hilarious.
just we were there.
It's given me an
and-
idea, actually.
Yeah, and so like now it's probably kicked us up at the arse a little bit. So okay, maybe this can be a real thing that we can pursue. Like we don't have lots of followers or anything. Like it's literally like, oh, just the fellas put in a proposal, ends up getting some money, and have gone on a trip.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to make the most of it.
Yeah,
We've
for
got
sure.
lots of content from the trip, so we'll just be trickle feeding that out for the next
However long.
10 weeks or so. with
And is
all-
it just on TikTok or is it on Instagram as well?
so the guys that gave us funding, it was half from TikTok, half from New Zealand on Air,
Oh,
so it's
cool.
exclusive to TikTok.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. I guess, so there was no kind of like main goal of this kind of trip. It was just,
Literally.
let's see what we can, let's just throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks.
I can say this now because we've got the money and we've done the trip, but literally, like we saw the thing, we were like, okay, made the proposal in like half an hour.
Oh my God.
Made the proposal in like half an hour, then we got it, and then I had to write a longer proposal. Waited till like the deadline day for that. Did that.
Oh my God.
It was real funny because we actually we went to like everyone that got it. So there was like 10 groups that won it.
Yeah.
Everyone that got it, they flew us to Sydney and they all did us like a big kind of like a group session with all of us. We just got found out so quickly because everyone else had like these fleshed out ideas that they'd spent months and months and months on. We just got there like,
Can we relax?
I think we're going to chat to some athletes. So yeah, it was interesting, but we learnt a lot. And it was like kind of my first proper freelance gig.
Yeah.
Where like I was learning to do it on my own and for myself. Which is cool. Being in front of camera is very different to being behind it.
100%.
So yeah, like it was a fun trip. Really enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and grateful for it. Yeah.
And so where do you see on the radar in like the next couple of years? Are you like wanting to ride off the coattails of
We
the
could
success?
be the biggest podcast in the world, or we could not post again after these 10 weeks. So yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Do you have like any main goals for it or no?
I mean, like the goal when we started was like, oh, we're going to be on ESPN.
Yeah.
We're going to be those talk guys who can be pundits on air
for
and
sure.
talk about anything and get paid for it. So that's like lofty dream goal, but like we're here and we're kind of already doing something we love. So we'll see.
Kind of got a backup plan just in case.
Yeah, backup plan, ESPN.
That's so funny. Okay, I'm going to go into some of the questions now that I've received from people. We got there was this one that made me laugh actually, but I'll let you know in a second. First question is tips for sports designers to find work.
Oh, see, this is something I cannot help you with because I told you when I started here I had no experience.
Just be delusional and email as many people as you can.
I guess my biggest tip is actually just reach out. Like, don't be afraid to ask because you never know what they're gonna say. Like people message me. I'll be like, say, oh, can I make you a graphic? I'll be like, yes.
Yes, please.
Go on.
Thank you.
Give it
Don't
a go.
even say yes, just say thank you so much.
Yes, send it in. So like there are opportunities like that to get your work out there. But yeah, no, I kind of in terms of actual work, like I've never done any freelancing work for my graphics. Yeah. Because I learned,
which is crazy because like you're so good at it.
Because I learned on the job.
Yeah.
So can't help you there. Sorry.
So Tāne's number one tip would be just be delusional and see if anything sticks. Next question I got, and this one made me laugh. When are they promoting you to the All Black socials?
Is that a promotion? I don't know. Like I think doing the All Blacks would be really, really fun in terms of the travel and just the All Blacks.
Yeah.
I think I would struggle a lot more because it is a lot more. The All Blacks do it like this. Like you're in a but like I think you just have to do that. Like like the All Blacks have been like this for hundreds of years. The social guy is not going to come in and change that.
Yeah. I mean, you never know.
Who knows?
Never say never.
So like, while I'd love to do the All Blacks as just like a New Zealander, I'm really enjoying the creative freedom I have now at the Blues.
For sure. Next question is, do any of the players have access to the Blues Instagram?
Absolutely not. Jeez.
Not giving up that responsibility.
No, I can just imagine the ruckus that would be caused if that was the case. I mean, some of the players have a bigger
Could you
Instagram
imagine
than the
Tom
Blues.
Robinson in charge of the bloody
I think
Instagram?
Caleb Clark on the Blues would be just something else. So no, they don't. But like, I don't mind handing over. Like, cause like
If they asked, would
if
you?
they asked, I wouldn't give them the login. But
Just give them your phone and be like over the shoulder.
yeah, like I like to see if the boys are seeing, if they're talking to the Blues Instagram, that they're talking to the Blues fan base. Like I like that. So like I'd hand them the phone for them to talk to the Instagram, like their fans. Sometimes they'll message like they're talking to me. So it's like, you got it's the Blues here, not Tāne on the other end.
Yeah. Do you think? I reckon a good idea would be like voicing those.
Yeah,
That would be such a good idea,
things,
actually.
yeah.
That'd be so funny.
Is that real American thing where it's like you just hand them the phone after the game and they go, "Oh, that was a great win, Blues fans," and so
The Warriors started doing
Warriors
that.
do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, they did that in America for ages. But yeah.
Yeah. Do you show them any specific messages or comments?
No.
No.
Because they'll like I said, it's New Zealand. Like they'll see it themselves if it's big enough or important enough.
Yeah.
But no, I don't like I think they've got enough to worry about.
For sure.
I'm not going to be like, oh, this guy said this about you. Or,
Yeah, for sure. What sort of content gets the best engagement?
Human stuff.
Yeah.
Like the boys are being themselves, or like just showing their true selves, other than just like a cool try, which obviously would get cool engagement or good engagement. But like things you can control, the boys being real people.
Yeah. Or Mark Talia slipping through tackles.
Yeah. Or just wait for Mark to do something and then post that.
Wait for him to just walk a few steps and I'm sure it will go well.
Yeah.
What content do you most enjoy producing?
Oh, that's a great question. Like, because I didn't start doing it, graphics, I love making graphics now. And just being as wacky as I can with them.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it, so like, especially, so during the off season is when like I start making all these random graphics and doing fun things. And I really like reactionary stuff, so it's like, if something happens in the world or yada yada, jumping on it as quick as you can. And
I'm
like
so
making
bad
something
with that sort of stuff.
I love that. You know, something happened. Something happens in the world, an album comes out, or Will Smith
Drake
gets
slapped
slapped someone. Like something happens. Like making something about that, and then like watching it go.
Yeah, no, epic. Well, that's all for the questions, and that is all for today's podcast. Ooh. I want to say thank you so much for joining me today.
Worries. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm sure people will really enjoy this chat because I know I did, and I definitely learnt a lot.
Thank you.
But yeah, where can people find you on Instagram, on the radar, Tāne, Wolfgramm, Blues?
You can find the Blues rugby team on Instagram, or we're on the radar on TikTok, so on.the.radar.
Nice.
And you'll see a couple blokes. Maybe
just winging it.
Maybe in the near future, who knows?
No time schedule with that.
No time schedule. Okay, you know what's crazy? I've been at the Blues for 4 seasons now, and I haven't done one piece of Blues content on the radar.
Oh, have you not?
Haven't used the boys.
I've beaten you to it.
haven't done a game day thing. Haven't done nothing. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah, no, wicked. Well, thank you so much. Very grateful for your time, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot more from you over the next 24 seasons. So thank you so much, and thanks for listening, guys.
Go the Blues. Don't support the Chiefs or the Crusaders. Go the Blues.
I have no comment on that. Okay, bye.